the global challenges? Did they go well? Did they go as expected?
Well, overall we are very, very satisfied. I think we had great tournaments at all the global challenges. We had a fantastic CS tournament in Dubai with pretty much all the top CS teams from all over the world participating. We had the best World of Warcraft tournament ever, I would say, in Montreal, at least from the team lineup. And so far we're very satisfied.
Would you have liked Blizzard to release the patch a bit later? So, because, well, as it happens, we had a patch release just before Montreal, and now just before this event we had the add-on release, which luckily didn't affect the event. Would you have wished them to pay more attention to our tournaments regarding that?
Well, obviously timing can be improved, let's say, but still we have to adapt to the circumstances as they are, and overall the support from Blizzard has always been good for us. So I think, yes, it could have been better, but still it's okay.
We were in some countries where esports hadn't been before, like Dubai. What was your impression? Is esports something that should grow big there?
It will take time, but I think the people that actually watch esports and came there were fascinated and they liked what they saw, even though they might not have understood everything right away, but still I think they liked it, and it will take time to develop it like it did in other countries, and they're surely not as far as we are in Germany or here in Korea. But I think they will get there, and we already saw some teams that could play CS on a decent level, I would say. There was, for example, one team that took a halftime from Fnatic. So yeah, it will take some time, but they will make it.
Now from Dubai, a country where esports isn't really that big, to the country that has made esports what it is, or is basically the largest esport country in the world. Is this the first event for the ESL in Korea?
Yes, it's our first time here with an ESL event in Korea, and so far I think we're doing fine, and we're definitely looking forward to have more events and tournaments here in the future as well.
What are the biggest obstacles to overcome when hosting tournaments far away from Cologne?
Well, obviously in Asia it's always about the language. I mean, local people and also players barely speak and understand English, and therefore you have to rely on local support to communicate with the teams, communicate with the community, and there can also be visa issues sometimes. Fortunately, we did not have this here. All the Chinese teams and players that wanted to come here made it. And yeah, the culture is different, and the way people react in certain situations is different. So you always have to learn about the culture, about the local culture, and adapt to it.
Do you think that maybe next season we could have an online qualification in Asia as well? Because in Europe there's an online main round, then there's continental finals. Here teams get invited to the continental finals. Do you think they will have an online round in the future as well?
Well, obviously that's a long-time goal, no doubt about that. But as everything, it takes time, and it doesn't make sense to go the fifth step before you did the second step. And yeah, hopefully we will be ready to have an online season already next season. Maybe it will take another season. I can't say that for sure yet, but for definitely the long-time plan is to have an online season everywhere, just like we have in Europe and in the US at the moment.
Do you think people have understood the concept of the global challenges to get additional slots, but not to qualify directly, but instead then having more teams qualifying at the continental finals? Do you think that's something people understand?
I think it's getting better. In the beginning, people did not really understand it, I would say, but nowadays I think more and more people get the system, understand the system, and even though it may look complicated on the first look, it actually is pretty simple, and there are very valid reasons why we did it like we did it. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of time to make people get used to it, and then everyone will really know what's going on and why things are like this and that.
Then let's get back to Korea a bit. You've seen quite something of Seoul so far, I think. Is esports as present in public spotlight as you would have imagined it to be?
Well, I've been to Korea before, so it's not really new experience for me. But yeah, I mean, esports definitely is present here. It is on several TV stations. If you turn on your TV in the hotel, you will see StarCraft somewhere, most likely. But I think also it's still very StarCraft driven, and the other games still will take some time to develop. And but overall, I think Korea is on a really good way.
So what's the most important thing that Europeans can learn from Korea when it comes to esports?
That's a hard question. I think the dedication to games in general is something I really appreciate here, because the people are a lot more enthusiastic, are a lot more into the game, have a lot more knowledge about the game. So that's not really something we can learn as an organizer, but people in general can learn, and I think will learn. I mean, we've seen that at events in the US, in Europe. People are getting there. It takes some time, and probably they will never be as enthusiastic as the people are here in Asia, just like in China, or be it Korea or China. I think that's just a different mentality and different culture. But yeah, I really like how the fans are cheering for the players, asking for autographs, taking photos all the time. That's really nice, and it really shows that esports is really accepted as a sport here.
Do you think at some point players will have to be protected? We saw Grubby running away from fans. How long is it going to take until players cannot just walk around as they want without being harassed by fans all the time?
I think that is already there at some events in China and Korea. I mean, we saw it at the last WC's Real Finals in Changsha, for example. Whenever there was a player walking out into the spectator area, it took like less than 10 seconds and he was surrounded by 50 people. And that was just not for Moon or Sky, it really happened for everybody. Even Hazuops, who was like completely unknown for Chinese fans before this event, I would say. Once they saw him play on the stage one time, he was surrounded immediately after this one match. So this really shows how much those guys are into it and really cheer for the players.
All right, then let me ask you about who you think is going to win this event. For World of Warcraft, many have said Council of Masons and HON, because they are the teams that have been most present at other tournaments. Do you think those two will make it?
Yeah, I mean, they have won all their matches so far and actually did that pretty convincingly. So I would say those two are probably the favorites. I think the Kili A team did also really well so far. The Chinese teams seem to have some problems here, also adapting to the new patch, which so far is not played in China. So obviously they have some disadvantage there. So yeah, I would say those three teams are probably the favorites in the World of Warcraft tournament.
And in Counter-Strike, which will be the third team besides Astro and Lunatic High to qualify?
That's really, really hard to say. I must admit I'm not that much of an expert of the Korean CS scene. I mean, obviously Lunatic High and Astro are the known names. They've been to many international tournaments as well. So I'm really looking forward to see which third team will step up there and maybe even try to upset one of the big names. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see that.